All right, so we have talked about ACE structure. You know that ACE structure are three sentences consisting of your answer, A, your citation of evidence, C, and your elaboration of your evidence, E. Well, I'm going to teach you a strategy today for that first part of ACE, the A. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to answer a question by flipping the question and making it into a statement or a claim. And a statement or a claim is just another way of saying an answer. So what I'd like for you to do first on a separate sheet of paper is to brainstorm some of the other ways that you could start your A. I've given you a few on the side here. I think, I believe. Go ahead and pause this video now and give yourself some time on a separate post-it note or piece of paper to brainstorm some of the other ways that you could start the A portion of your ACE response. Now that you have brainstormed some other ways to start your A, let's go ahead and take that further by how we completely phrase or write an answer in an ACE response. I'm going to teach you a strategy today called the flip it strategy. This means that you could answer any question by simply taking words and phrases from the question, then flipping them back into the answer. Most of you already do this, by the way. This is called a complete or a full sentence answer. Why do we do this? Because flipping the question helps you to make sure that you're actually answering the question and you're not going off topic. Unfortunately, if you don't answer the correct question, then what ends up happening is you don't have the correct evidence and you don't have the correct elaboration. Okay, so how do you do this? How do you flip a question into an answer? The first thing you're going to do, as always, is read the question carefully. After you've read the question carefully, that means you've read every single word slowly, maybe more than one time. You're going to pause before you do anything else, and you're going to think about what that question is really asking you. This part is so important because you need to actually be answering the correct question. If you remember from previous ACE lessons, when I asked you what is the most exciting animal or fascinating animal, I was not asking you what your favorite animal was. And that was important for you to pause and think about that. The same goes for every question there is. You need to pause and think about what is this question really asking me? Sometimes you can do that by saying, well, what is this question not asking me? Then you're going to start the flip it strategy. You're going to underline keywords and phrases in the question. Keywords mean important. Key phrases are important. They're important because without those words in there, you wouldn't really understand the question. So, using those words and phrases, you're then going to flip the question into your answer. So, you're going to use the words that you underlined. You're going to use the phrases that you underline in the writing of your answer. Then you're going to write your flip it statement as your A in ACE. Highlight your A in green. This is especially true for any of my sixth graders. We need to get in the habit of highlighting our A, our answers, green. So let's look at an example here. After analyzing Sarah's work on her math problem, was she correct or incorrect? All right, so I know that the first thing I need to do is read the question carefully, which I just did. And now I need to pause and think, what is this question asking me? Well, I know that it's asking me to analyze or look closely at Sarah's work. And then it's asking me to tell the reader if she was correct or incorrect. So there's two parts that this question's asking me, to look at her work and say if it's correct or not. Now, I need to underline keywords or phrases from the question. Remember that key means important. So I've underlined after analyzing Sarah's work. That's important to me. I've decided that that's important because that's telling me what I need to do. And then I've underlined correct or incorrect because I also need to say whether it's correct or incorrect. Now, you might see other words as key or other phrases as key or important, and that's okay. The one thing you want to avoid doing is underlining every single word. Although you might use most of the words in your answer, not all of them would be considered important. So let's look at using those key words and phrases to flip the question into an answer. After analyzing Sarah's work on her math problem, or on her work, her math problem was correct. Notice how I used my after analyzing Sarah's work and I used the word correct. Or I could have written, can't see the beginning part here, Sarah was correct on her math problem. I didn't use analyzing and all of that, but that's okay. Not all of you might have picked out the same key words or phrases. There's always more than one answer. All right, let's practice it some more. What is your favorite subject in school? Read the question. Think about the question. It's not asking you what is the most fun, though sometimes it might be the same. It's not asking you what your least favorite is. It's asking you what is your favorite subject in school. So, number 3, you're going to underline keywords and phrases, and then you're going to flip those keywords and phrases into your answer. So maybe you might want to underline favorite subject and school and use those to turn into an answer. A possible answer might be, my favorite subject in school is, and then whatever your answer is. But notice how I've used keywords, favorite, subject, and school in my answer. Do it again. After doing the science experiment, what conclusion can you draw? I've read the question. I'm going to think about the question. All right, well, this question is telling me that I have to finish a science experiment first. And what conclusion can I draw? Well, it's asking me to draw one conclusion. It's not saying all the different things I've learned from the experiment, but one conclusion I can draw. If I don't understand what conclusion means, I'm going to have to look that up. Maybe ask my friends or ask my teacher, or maybe even do a Google search. So now that I know that conclusion means result, I can go ahead and underline my keywords and phrases. I decide to underline after doing the experiment and underline conclusion. Now I'm going to flip those into my answer. One possible answer could be, after doing the science experiment, one conclusion I can draw is, and then write the conclusion that you can draw. Let's try it one more time. How would you describe the character's personality? I've read the question. I'm going to think about the question. It's not asking me about a character's looks. It's asking me about their personality. This is like a character trait. All right, so I know that this is how they are. Okay, I've thought about the question. Now I'm going to underline the words and phrases. I'm going to underline character, describe, and personality. And I'm going to flip those words into my answer. So one possible answer is, I think, there I am using a sentence starter, I think I would describe the character's personality as, and then you put whatever trait or adjective you'd like to put in there as their personality, maybe courageous or determined or helpful. All right, but notice I've used the word describe, characters, and personality, all from my answer. All right, one more. What factors in history led to the American Revolution? I've read the question. I'm going to think about the question. This is asking me causes of the American Revolution. Okay, now I'm going to underline my keywords and phrases. I need to underline factors, also the causes. I probably need to underline led and underline American Revolution. Now I'm going to flip my keywords and phrases into my answer. One possible answer is the factors that led to the American Revolution include, and then I'm going to write what they include. You can always put, I think the factors that led to the American Revolution include. You can always use that a sentence starter. Now it's your turn. You're going to write just the beginnings. You do not have to answer the full question. I just want to see you flip the keywords and phrases into your answer. You're going to input your answer in Edpuzzle. So the question is, what is one way to solve the problem? All right, your next question is, why were the Egyptians so obedient to the pharaoh? Use the flip it strategy. Your next question, what is one genetic trait that pug owners should be aware of? All right, so now that you've written all of these in Edpuzzle, let's go through them together. How would you flip? What is one way to solve the problem? One possible answer is, one way, or I think one way to solve the problem is. Why were the Egyptians so obedient to the pharaoh? One possible answer is, I think the Egyptians were so obedient to the pharaoh because. What is one genetic trait that pug owners should be aware of? I think one genetic trait that pug owners should be aware of is. And that's the flip it strategy. You're taking keywords and phrases from the answer and you're flipping them, or from the question, and you're flipping them into your answer.